What's going on, guys? Tony here. And so I just got a question that was a really good topic that I wanted to discuss live for the first time on YouTube. So I've got right there Medicare Benefit Policy Manual. We're going to jump down to section 220, where all the information about PTOT, SLP is covered. And the question that came in, now you guys can't see my screen, but I'm going to go ahead and jump over to take a look at it. At least I don't think you guys can see my screen. So the question was, if a therapist, in this case, a physical therapist, wants to provide therapeutic, medical, manual therapy, I call it like a restorative, a recovery massage. My vision, and I think this is a huge untapped market for us. Ooh, people are watching. Sweet. My vision is, let's say you've seen a patient in the past, or you have a great relationship with a referring physician, and they're going to send a person over who just has a little bit of like a nagging discomfort, a nuisance, pain. They don't necessarily need a full course of therapy, but the beneficiary is a Medicare beneficiary, wants to receive some manual therapy. What's up, Michael? Thanks for jumping on. And so how do you go about doing this? I think there's, levels to approach this. And I think the best way to do it, kind of the premier option is, so this is a person either coming directly from a physician with or without a referral, or a person who's just knows about you, friends or family, word of mouth referrals, and they're like, hey, go see Tony. He's going to take care of your shoulder. Okay. I think number one, you are a licensed PTOT SLP. You perform an evaluation. The evaluation is always considered a covered service. You develop a plan of care. Now, your plan of care might be as simple as, look, let's do a series of non-covered manual therapy sessions, because it's not medically necessary, but it's going to feel good and it's going to help relieve some of your pain. Your pain isn't interfering with function. You're still doing everything you need to do. There's no medical complexities and none of the other stuff. You just are in pain and you want it to feel better. So the evaluation and developing the plan of care and the goals, covered service, billable to Medicare, you would write it out. You'd send that over to, the patient's primary care doc or referring physician. Then you would issue or render manual therapy sessions, treatments, that are not medically necessary, therefore not covered services. In those situations, you would use an ABN, but it's a voluntary ABN. Now, I've got a whole segment on ABNs in the Medicare billing course. We talk about mandatory and voluntary ABNs, how you determine which is which. We talk about different triggering events for the ABN in terms of, at the onset of care, which this could be a situation where you use an ABN at the onset of care, but you've already completed the evaluation as a billable service. We talk about using it if you're reducing frequency, using it at discharge, but the patient wants to hire you to continue services that are not medically necessary. So there's a lot of opportunity in here. And then, of course, there is the combination of you provide non-covered services in the form of manual therapy because it's not medically necessary based on your professional opinion, in conjunction with covered services, therapeutic activity, therapeutic exercise. We generally agree, I think, as a profession, that manual interventions alone are not enough to get the person to where they need to be. So we do the covered service in the form of TheraX, TheraAct, NeuroRead. We do the non-covered service, the palliative care, in the form of a self-pay manual treatment. We marry those two in that situation. Yes, you need a plan of care. Yes, it needs to be signed by a physician who's in charge of this patient's medical care. But back to the original question, if a patient walks in off the street, how do you handle that? I really think we're obligated to perform an evaluation. And I believe when we do, that is a covered service. So that evaluation should go to a physician to be certified, and it should be billed under the Mandatory Claim Submission Act to Medicare. But I think rendering the not medically necessary manual therapy services, totally self-pay service. So guys, I'm done. Almost 5.5 minutes, my first YouTube live. I hope you enjoyed it. Once it's done, I'm going to share it over into the group. Michael, thanks so much for joining me. I'll catch you guys later.